You may be wondering what twist ties have to do with plants. Stay tuned and you'll find out. Truthfully, I don't remember where I first saw this. I've seen this idea in a lot of different magazine articles and everything. And it's kind of logical. When you look at the twist ties, you can kind of see the leaves. So let's get started. The first thing you need are some twist ties. And I've noticed that when I buy anything that has twist ties, you know, the package might have like 50 bags, and there's usually a bunch of twist ties. Even if I use them for every bag, there's a bunch left over. So I save those. If you can find green ones, they work easier. If white ones will work just fine. Blue ones, they should work too. I haven't tried the blue ones. I noticed the last package of bags I had blue twist ties. So the first thing you need to do is pull off. You need 9 twist ties for each plant, the size we're making. And you need to trim. When you look at the twist tie, there's little marks where they're held together. Those, you need to kind of shave those off with your scissors and just kind of make it so it's a little smoother. And then the top of the leaves on these plants, they're kind of a gentle curve to a point. So kind of just trim it off. And I like to go from bottom to the top, kind of going towards that curve, just like that, so that you have a point like that. Just a gentle curve. And remember, about 9 of them. You can cut them anywhere from about 1 inch to, I bet you could even use, well, you could use the whole thing if you wanted to, up to, 3 inches. I'm cutting mine, I think, probably about, that looks like about 2 inches to me. Double check you've got all those little bumps off. And just cut 9 of these. Then you need to paint them. I think this color paint, I think, is hunter green. You need whatever green you've got that's kind of a darkish, kind of a medium greenish color. Looks like a leaf color. We're going to cover up a lot of this and just paint both sides. And it will take probably 2 coats of paint to cover the twist tie with green paint. Be ready to do at least 2 coats. And you'll need a piece of like foam or something to stick it in. I have this, I can do 3 plants worth at a time with this one. And I just poked holes in it with, I think with my knitting needle, my trusty blue knitting needle. And poke the holes down in there, let them dry, put a second, maybe a third coat on, depending on how much coverage you're getting from your green paint that you've got. Then we need to do the yellow. And to do the yellow, now you can do yellow, or you can do, I think I saw a snake plant at the store the other day that was almost a cream color instead of the really yellow like my old one used to be. I killed my snake plant years ago. I'm really bad with real plants. That's why my dollhouses have plants in them, because I can't keep a plant alive. So you can do this 2 ways. You can either get really fiddly. Snake plants have little lines of color on them. You can either get really, really fiddly and paint those little lines, or you can take the shortcut I'm doing. And as I take a Q-tip, and I've got yellow. This is, I don't even know if they still make this one. It's a ceramic coat. It's called crocus yellow. It's kind of a golden yellow. And we are going to just kind of dab it on, and then with the other end of the same Q-tip, you're going to dip into the green paint, and you're going to kind of model this together so that it kind of softens it out to where it looks from a distance. It looks like the snake plant does from a distance, because from a distance you don't really see the lines that much. You just kind of see an impression of lines. And do both sides. Don't have too much paint on here. And you'll need to fuss it back and forth with the 2 colors till you get it so it kind of looks like it's got those little lines. Then take a really small brush, and what I do is I go through and I do this part to all of my leaves. I stick it back in my foam, and then I come back and do this step. take a small brush and just run, and I kind of like to get the end pretty loaded, and just run from the bottom all the way up the side, just on the edge. You don't want this to really touch too much on the sides of the leaves, just on those edges. And when you've got it kind of rimmed all the way up and down, then use your tweezers and put this back in your foam, and you've got, those need to dry. Now those need to get all the way dry before the next step. The next step is to find a container. I'm planning mine, these were called wooden buckets. And it says they're wooden buckets and they're 1 3/16 inches. I can't figure out why they're calling them 1 3/16 inches. They're about 3/4 of an inch tall and they're 7/8 of an inch in diameter. Where we get 1 inch and 3/16, I'm not sure, but that's what they're calling them. So whatever. But they're just a nice little size for a plant pot. And what I did with mine is, so this is the one that's been sprayed. I just used a real thin brown paint and kind of just wiped it on and brushed it on, wiped it off. And then I used a metallic copper paint on these little lines. That's all I did there. And when that's done and all dry, then you're going to shove some styrofoam of some kind. I just used more of this pink foam that I'm using. This is what they call builder's foam, and it comes in a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet. And I bought a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet a long time ago for a project, and I'm still using chunks of it up. And it's inexpensive, so it's a fun thing to buy. All right, so that's, you need foam in here. You could use styrofoam, you could use whatever foam you've got. Glue it in, run glue in your pot, stick the foam in, and then we need to put our dirt on. I'm going to put our dirt on. First we need glue. This is just my usual quick grab tacky. You could use any white glue that's not too thin. I'd use at least as thick as a tacky glue because I think it holds better. And these are coffee grounds. They're coffee grounds that have been used and then dried out. What I do is when I start running low, I'll save some on a saucer and I put it in the oven when I'm baking my clay stuff at the low temperature and just leave it in there for 15-20 minutes and it will dry them out. And then you've got coffee grounds to use for dirt. It makes really good dirt. I use it in landscaping too. So dip that pot with the glue in the top down in there, and while this is still wet, it's really important this next step is done while this is wet. We're going to take our 9 finished snake plant leaves. Let's see how this kind of looks like the lines on those. And I'm going to stick it down in. And if it argues with you, use a pokey tool. Sometimes these will go in really easy in the foam, and sometimes the foam does not want to be poked. And you want to stick it in. Try and get it down in so that however far down your yellow part goes when you painted the yellow part, you want that to look like it's coming out of the dirt. And stick it in. They don't all want to go the same direction. You want them kind of turned different ways because these don't all face the same way. And they tend to be taller leaves. Making a mess. Taller leaves in the middle and shorter ones around the edges. And if you're, because I'm poking holes with that, they're too big a holes, so it's fighting me. Yeah, that one went in just fine. And because the glue, be sure the glue is still wet under that coffee grounds, and that will hold your leaves in. And you're just going to poke them down. Let's see if I have something to cut to make a hole here that's not quite so big as the knitting needle. That's better. And just kind of move around. You want to have them, you want your plant to be pretty well distributed in your pot. Yeah, one more. And then bring the coffee grounds back and kind of dump some more coffee grounds down in there. Stand up. And then after it dries, you can kind of bat off the extra coffee grounds. Now this one is the one that I sprayed. This one has not been sprayed yet. I don't know if we can see the difference. Not really. A little. I just sprayed this one with a satin clear finish. This one I'll spray later. It kind of shows up. The plant looks better and the pot looks better. And that'll kind of seal the coffee on. But it's that easy to make these plants a snake plant. Who'da thunk? A snake plant. Add a twist ties. Have fun with it, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.